Now, some of you are not going to like this message because we have a very difficult time looking at our own part in any toxic relationship with narcissistic people, especially when we feel so much pain, so much anger, so much confusion, and you're caught in this place of fight or flight. But what if I told you that only 25% of your pain is actually caused by the narcissist behavior? If you can understand this message, you will regain your power and you will never experience the pain of narcissistic abuse the same way again. Let's explore this together. My name is Kevin, and this is The Royal We. Now, before I do continue, I want to let you know that I'm here to support you. Down in the description box, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments with me. I take telephone calls and video calls through Zoom, FaceTime, and WhatsApp. Also, the Royal We private membership is available for you, where you get daily access to coaching, not only by me, but support of a community from around the world. There is a workout program for you. There's fellowship once a week and so much more, all in the privacy of a members-only app. So head on down there and check out the Royal We private membership. Get started today. Now, let's get into this topic of 25% of your pain comes from the narcissist behavior, while 75%, the majority of your pain, comes from something deep within yourself. Now, let's be clear about something. Narcissistic abuse of any kind does, in fact, hurt. It hurts to be called names and insulted. It hurts when you are talked down to, when you're yelled at, when you're demeaned and devalued. It hurts when you are rejected, neglected, and ignored. It hurts when you are lied about and gossiped about. All of these things that narcissists do are very hurtful. That's exactly why they do them, because they know that they're hurtful. They do it on purpose. They do it to try to control you and the relationship that you are in. However, these things that narcissists do that are hurtful can happen anywhere and everywhere you go. It's not limited to just this toxic relationship that you have been in. You can be insulted when you just walk down the street by somebody driving by. They can yell out some insult at you. It can happen when you're in the grocery store. Somebody behind your back can be gossiping about you and talking about you, making inappropriate comments, and you can overhear it. This type of narcissistic behavior can take place in your workplace environment as you are listening to stories being made up about you as people are competing with you for your job position. These things can happen in school. Everywhere you go in this narcissistic society and world in which you live in, you're going to experience these narcissistic attacks. Yet, the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's not going to linger in you. Even if it does hurt in that moment, you're not going to carry it with you for the rest of the day. Right now, even as this video is published, there's going to be some narcissistic people who are going to watch this video and make inappropriate comments about how lame they think this video is, or who's this bald guy talking, and what's your qualifications, and blah, blah, blah. So what? It's not going to affect my day. I'm going to take it a step further with you. When I was younger, I was in a very narcissistically abusive home with my stepfather, who would yell and scream and cuss and call me and my brother names and this and that. And in the moment, it was uncomfortable and it hurt. Of course it did. But for some reason, it didn't linger. As a matter of fact, I just couldn't stand to be around him. And I couldn't wait to get away from him and go to school. I couldn't wait to be with my friends. I couldn't wait to do the activities that I enjoyed doing, and none of it lingered within me. Interesting. Why is this? Well, this is where we're going to get into what the 75%, the overwhelming majority of your pain really is. You see, 75% of the pain you experience in a toxic relationship has everything to do with your investment that's been lost in the relationship. Not only the investment that's been lost, but also your hopes that have been unmet, your expectations that have been unmet. This is a deeper internal pain that you wrestle with for days, weeks, months, even years coming out of a toxic relationship. And the reason is because, well, when it comes to investing, we're investing of our time, of our energy, of our love. We are not meant to invest in this way without gaining anything in return, without it being reciprocated. We're not designed to. It goes against our very nature. You see, God has designed us as biochemical beings. We operate off of a rewards-based system with things like serotonin, things like dopamine. These things are a reward center that rewards our efforts. Anytime we try to invest in something, we do it so that we can be rewarded. Now, some of you are going to say, Kevin, no, that's totally incorrect. I have, in fact, given, and I've fed the homeless, and I've given in situations not expecting anything in return. Well, listen, that's okay if you go into it with that agreement internally. Yes, you can go into an agreement with yourself that you are going to give into a situation. Maybe you're going to feed the homeless. Maybe you're going to donate here, donate there. But you've already done so under a contract with yourself that you're doing this out of what you have, expecting nothing in return. And that's okay. I'll take a step further with that. Oftentimes people can go into one night stands with that mentality. I'm going into this under the contractual agreement within myself that I'm not looking for anything long term. I'm not looking for the long time. I'm just looking for the good time. So long as you go into it under that agreement already, well, then you're not going against yourself. But the issue that we have is when you start to invest with hope attached, and we're going to get more into hope in just a moment, that it's going to be rewarding, yet you're not receiving any reward as you are investing. And this is typically what happens in a toxic relationship with a narcissistic person. Well, you run the risk of becoming emotionally bankrupt. That's exactly what happens. We are not designed to give emotionally, mentally, to try to give our love into a situation and not get anything in return. You will become emotionally bankrupt. You'll become empty, and it will be painful. And the more you give and the more you try and the harder that you try to make this thing work, the more anger and frustration and hurt is going to build inside of you as you are becoming more empty as a consequence of giving and not receiving. I want to go back to my stepfather for just a moment here. As I said before, he was very verbally and emotionally abusive to me, my brother, and my mother. Yet, it did not linger. It did not create any residual, ruminating thoughts in my life. As I said before, I couldn't wait to get away from him. I couldn't stand to be around him. The reason is because I had no investment in that relationship. I couldn't stand the guy. I didn't look at him as a father in my life. All I looked at him as was just the man that my mother was with, and I couldn't wait to get away from him. I don't think I even ever got him a Christmas card. I had no investment, which is why his insults ultimately didn't matter. Sure, they hurt in the moment. It stung like a bee sting, but I couldn't take it personal because I had no investment. I had no hopes in that relationship. I had no expectations. Now I'm going to compare that to the situation with the in-laws that I dealt with, the family of the mother of my kids. When I got into that situation, I went into that with hopes, with expectations. I went into that relationship investing in them. I was giving to them. I wanted to talk with them individually and get to know them, and I oftentimes tried. I would pray on my way when I would go and see them that we could all be one big family and get along. I used to buy them Christmas gifts. I used to pick them up with the mother of my kids, and we'd go to theme parks. I wanted to get to know them. I was investing in a relationship, and ultimately I was hoping for a reward. And their narcissistic abuse, which was the insults, the criticisms, the calling me names, the cussing me out, the telling me I'm no good and I'm this and I'm that, it was really no different than what I experienced with my stepfather growing up. But the only difference is that I had invested in those in-laws. And as a consequence of that, and that alone, I went into months, years of this pain that started the royal we, this pain that I cannot even quite begin to understand. Because like I said, it's not that their name calling is that bad, but it was the pain of the unmet expectations. It was the pain of the unmet hope. It was the pain of having invested my energy into a black hole and gaining nothing out of it. As I said, we are not designed to invest ourselves and not get anything in return unless we already know that that's what we're going into. Make note of this. Write it down on the tablet of your heart. That investment plus hope and expectation often leads to unimaginable pain and suffering, especially in relationships, but really in anything. A person who goes to a casino without expecting to win anything will walk away just fine, even if they lose. Whereas a person who goes to a casino with their life savings, hoping to invest it so that they can double it, well, that person will walk away, and if they lose, it will create an unimaginable amount of pain and suffering and anguish to the point of them driving off a cliff somewhere. It happens all the time. Investment plus hope and expectation equals pain and suffering. We need to stop investing in relationships for hope and expectations. We need to start to invest only in relationships that are reciprocal, right then and right there. We have to stop using hope as an excuse to stay in a toxic relationship. If you ever find yourself in a relationship saying, I hope that they like me, I hope that this works, I hope they'll treat me better, I hope that they won't violently explode, I hope that I'm good enough, you're already in a toxic relationship. You see, the Bible mentions hope, and it gives us a stern warning. It says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. Basically saying, if you misplace hope in this life, if you use hope in the wrong way, it's going to make you sick. It's going to make you sick spiritually, emotionally. It's going to make you sick physically. It's going to make you feel exactly how you feel coming out of a toxic relationship. Why? Because you stayed in it. Hope belongs in heaven only. Hope belongs in what you can't see. That's the safest way to use hope. Hope in Christ. Hope in God. Hope in heaven. That's a safe place to hope. Don't hope that mean people will suddenly be nice, because you're ignoring reality and you're trying to see something that doesn't exist. You're investing in something that doesn't exist. You wouldn't go to a farmer's market, and if a farmer was standing at a stand with no fruits and vegetables and said, you know what, I have no fruits and vegetables now, but with your payment, I'll remember you and I'll come back next season and I'll bring you some delicious apples. No. Once again, you're investing in what doesn't exist. It makes sense when you think about toxic relationships and you look back on them now. You invested in something that didn't exist. You misplaced your hope in a relationship that wasn't real. You were trying to buy fruit that wasn't there. Once you realize that 75% of your pain comes from your investment plus your hope and expectations, and so you stop investing with hope and expectations and you start only investing where you receive something. Once you grab this, you're in control and you never experience the pain of narcissistic abuse again, because you're never going to give of yourself into a black hole. You're not going to invest yourself. You're not going to hope in a relationship. You're going to take people for what you see is what you get in that moment, as you should. You're not going to have expectations. You're going to take them and radically accept them as they are. And you're either going to say, I don't want you in my life, or everything they are is nourishing and good. It's good fruit. And you're going to say, I do want you in my life. Why? Because you're good. You're nourishing to me. You're nourishing to me mentally, emotionally, and physically. And so, yes, I'm going to invest in you because you are feeding me. That is what a healthy relationship is all about, folks. Listen, if you're struggling with this message right now, head on down to the description box, schedule that one-on-one time with me. Like I said, I take telephone calls and video calls through Zoom, FaceTime, and WhatsApp. Also, don't forget the Royal We Private membership is available for you. Head on down there, get started on the Royal We Private membership. Be sure to subscribe to this channel and like this video. That's how this message gets shared. And I'll be back with more videos for you right here on the Royal We. Subscribe. Check out one of these videos recommended by the YouTube algorithm. And I'll be back. Bye.